The TALONGAMES Art Series Rinne is one of a kind. In use cases it should be suboptimal for, it performed really well and even exceeded my expectations. Control as a descriptor doesn't do this mousepad justice. It starts very quickly, and when in motion, it's a smooth, balanced glide. However, it has extreme stopping power and is extremely controlled for micro corrections. So after I get this first kill, I'm just easily able to switch targets and flick over to this other guy over here. So I flick correctly, but then I needed to micro adjust in order to close out the kill. And it's very seamless on the Rinne. You can go from that extremely quick initial motion and then have this smooth follow through and then the stable micro correction. Okay, this is interesting. This is very interesting. So after the initial kill, notice I have to do this big swipe in order to get back on target. And then once I acquire the target, I'm able to just react and get the kill. It's also seamless, like how it blends these different attributes of aim together and makes each one of them coherent. So normally on control pads, I feel a pulling sensation, so my smoothness would really be inhibited here. But I'm able to just see the target and then cleanly track them like this. Unfortunately, I ran out of bullets. And then because of how fast the initial movement is, I don't feel inhibited going for this target switch, flick, whatever you want to call it. I'm able to go directly on target, have a stable landing, and then clean the kill up pretty easily. It's 490 by 420 and 4mm thick. I do wish it was 500 by 500. Extra room to move my mouse is always welcome, but in game, size was never an issue. The surface is Japanese made UFM and it's currently only being used on this mousepad. No other mousepad on the market has it. The artwork is made by Hirotaka Tanaka. It's a breathtaking cityscape featuring blue and orange predominantly and a young woman pictured in the center. In person, it looks stunning, though it's more muted and washed out in person than online images would suggest. I also appreciate how TALONGAMES makes a big effort to credit the artist constantly. The edges are rounded and I've had many moments where I ran out of mouse pad but was still able to track since my mouse didn't get caught. The Starlight base is high density polyurethane. It stuck to my desk perfectly and didn't move. This mouse pad is extremely comfortable, very velvety and smooth to the touch, and a joy to rest your arm on. I purchased this mouse pad with my own money for $61 total after shipping. As it comes from Japan, the shipping cost is higher than I'd like, but I still feel this provides solid value. The Rinne is a very solid all-arounder and I'm confident it will perform regardless of the FPS genre you play. The closest alternative I can think of is the Hayate Otsu V2. Mine came in at $89. Functionally, both pads are very similar. Fast startup, balanced glide, but controlled enough to micro adjust. It's really weird because this ATK A9 Mini Plus has PMM Smoothies, and then it feels extremely fast on the Rinne, very smooth. On the Otsu, it feels probably a touch slower, but it's significantly rougher. And then on the VAXEE PA, it's similar to the Rinne, just less smooth, probably in between the Otsu and the Rinne. But on the MPO1S V3 with the Artisan skates, it feels like way slower on the Rinne, not quite sticky, but still a little muddy, not as, you can tell there's some sort of drag at the bottom of the skates. But then if you use it on the Otsu, it feels still relative speed, maybe a touch faster, but there's no pulling sensation. And then on the VAXEE PA, it's probably the fastest, which is really weird. It's just the Otsu perceptually feels faster because of the texture feedback, but the actual speed profile is very similar to the PA. So mouse skates are really, really important for this mouse pad. It can completely transform it. Like on the ATK A9 Mini Plus with the Smoothies, it literally feels like, this does not feel like a control pad. This feels borderline speed. But then this same exact setup on an actual or another control pad can feel so much different. And then the Otsu almost feels slower than two control pads with the same setup. It's really, really odd. Mouseskate compatibility is where the Rinne sets itself apart from everything I've tested. With full-size Magic Ice skates, this mousepad felt way too controlled. It was very sticky, or what many may perceive as mud. I wasn't a fan of this at all, but it being labeled a control pad with this use case makes sense. However, with dot skates, it completely transformed. It instantly became a unique experience I could only really compare to the Hayate Otsu, but it starkly differed with micro corrections and stopping power, being more extreme in both. Essentially, it's an evolution on the Otsu's core concepts. The TALONGAMES Art Series Rinne left me confused, amazed, and excited. They have more mousepad releases planned for the art series and others outside of the art series. I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on TALONGAMES, and after using the Rinne, I'll definitely buy whatever they release next.